All right, guys, we are back with another great episode of Basscast Radio. I am Brian, your host, and joining me tonight, guys, if you're watching this on video, it's Hank the Bass Geek. What's up, brother? Welcome back to the show. As you guys all
Man,
as you guys all remember last week, Hank had no power. That's no
yeah.
good.
So what I didn't find out is that I had actually said at work last week, and apparently there was a tornado that hit literally where I was at.
No
I was
way.
sitting in a glass room just watching it wind blow and rain, and I'm like, man, hopefully I'll see a tornado coming. Well, apparently it was just a few miles to the left of me.
Holy cow.
So I'm
Wow.
just sitting there like, huh, well, look at all this stuff.
That's crazy, dude. Wow.
Oh yeah. So that's
Welcome
probably
back.
why I should have been paying attention to the news.
Yes. Welcome back, man. Glad to have you back on the show.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
guys, last weekend, the basscast.com, if I remember correctly, stopped number 3 of our tournament trail series on Smith Mount Lake. We only had 20 boats, but really appreciate everyone for fishing with us. I went across Hales Ford Bridge and they were coming 5 wide down through there. Pontoon boats, you name it. Some of the most craziest people you ever want to see. Uh, Coming back, I saw this too. It's crazy. This guy, boats were coming down both ways. This guy came under the bridge, maybe 100 feet, and decided to make a quick U-turn and went right back
Whoa.
underneath the bridge. Boats are just coming. I'm like, so thank you to everyone who fished with us. We had to cancel our September event, guys, and we're going to be back in October. So if you're listening now, October, the Basscast will be back. And like I said, again, appreciate all of you guys. Guys, it was a giant bag. I mean, it was 24.3 pounds.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, Danny and Travis Tao won that. That is their second win for the 2023 season. So Chad and Elliott Pilson guys are still currently in first in points by only a few. So, but guys, don't forget our points champions receive free entry into our classic championship. And right now it's $500 in the classic pot. So thank you to that. Our May month-long kayak series tournament ended. All of that information is up on the basscast.com. And June the 24th is our next kayak series event. So come on out, sign up, basscast.com. Danielle, hopefully we'll have it up in the next couple of days where you guys can sign up for that. And our ceremony for this event is going to be at our sponsors, Journey Outdoors. So we get to hang out their brand new location. I have food truck on hand. I'm not sure what all they got planned, but they always do it up right. They get some Fat Boy donuts too, man. Someone up there Lexington, Virginia's got some daggone good donuts and some great barbecue. It's like a fat boy's dream, man.
I tell you what, man. I couldn't survive up there. I've been trying to be a good boy. I'm down 35 pounds, down from 345 to 309 now. I mean, so
That's awesome.
been trying to be good. Did not so good today. I stopped at a restaurant, ate a little bit of heavy stuff, but hey, it happens. Got to treat yourself every once in a while. But man, there have been some monster bags coming out of that lake
Oh
the
yeah.
past year. It's
Oh yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
That lake has fully recovered.
Yeah, Smith is back on, we're finally seeing, and I can't say or per se that these are tiger bass, but with the introduction of tiger bass over the last 5 or 6 years, I mean, they're showing up 8 pounders. I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, I mean, that's 5 pounds of fish, guys. I mean, and they
So
also had
when
longer.
so down my way we've got the Chickamauga,
Right.
right? So that lake is now seeing kind of the growing pains of being a top tier fishery.
Oh, wow.
So, so how long do you think it's going to be before the secret gets out about
Yeah.
about Smith that it's on that sort of rebound again, and things are because I mean we're talking about June now. Listen, I know there's some good bags in
Yes.
June, but where I live, you don't weigh in 24, 25-pound bags in June.
And that's the same here too, because when it came out, I heard the big wow. I mean, from quite a amount of people. So I mean, guys, if you want to know how they caught them, I trust these guys 110%. But they ain't lying. I trust a lot of them. They ain't lying. There's a few I know lying right off the bat. They ain't even got trust. But yeah, I mean, the videos are all up there on the website. Head on over to the basscast.com right now and check it out. Watch the videos, check out the photos. But yeah, I mean, you're 100% right on that. I mean, I've been doing this now for over a decade. And for June, but it has been a crazy June. We've had some nice, cool mornings.
It has been.
I brought it up to someone today at work. It's a fall. I mean, a spring. I'm sorry, spring, fall.
Yeah.
But we're actually seeing a real spring. I mean, in the past couple of years, it's gone from
winter to summer.
Winter, yeah, that's it. Winter to freaking summer. But we're actually getting a nice spring. I mean, it's been 56 degrees here in the mornings and 75 to 80 degrees during the day. So, I mean, it's been
super
perfect.
Nice.
Super nice.
I agree. Same here.
If you're not getting out on the water, you're freaking crazy because it's been beautiful. I mean, even if you just want to go out there and hang out with the freaking family, it's perfect weather. So, Geek, let's roll on with this. What you got going on in your world real quick, man?
Man, we're dropping some videos. We'll have a new video come out tomorrow for you guys listening. It's a little bit of a late fishing video, but we hit a couple of lakes and there's some really cool stuff about using your forward facing sonar and your during cold fronts in the late spring. So this was filmed in April, so it was a little bit far behind end of April, on maybe even early May. But we had a real hard cold front come through. And I think you'll be really interested to see kind of what we were doing and how we were doing it with forward-facing sonar. And that even trickles in to just a couple of weeks ago. It was the end of May, with the Cumberland tournament, which that video will be out here in probably, I would say, a few days. And that was kind of the same way I come into this tournament, and that was kind of the same way that I caught my first fish there too. I already had this bait tied on. It was really neat. And I probably, not to give too much away, should have maybe looked for that a little bit more. But we got something for a lot of forward facing stuff going on right now on the channel. We've got something for those of you that can see the shirt.
See it. I see it.
It's combined. I got two products come in, and I got a video that will drop Sunday about a modular upgrade to the forward facing sonar. And it's really a combination, a handshake between two companies, Ashmore Marine Products AMP and the Foresight. And I'm gonna tell you guys, it is going to, I'll tell you, I don't know if I'm going to get to keep my boat for another year, because you guys know I'm working with Camus now, or if I'm going to have to sell it at the end of the year. But I will tell you this right now: whoever buys this boat is probably going to get the most dialed in fishing machine you've ever seen in your life.
Wow!
I mean, it is. You will be able to do things that most anglers do not and cannot do.
That's awesome.
And I don't want to get rid of it. Like I've got it. It's right there, and it's killing me. I hope I get to keep it for another year.
Heck yeah. All right. So head on over. Make sure you get and follow Bass Geek's channel. Don't forget Basscast Radio on YouTube. The numbers have picked up, so really appreciate you guys. Head on over and give it a follow now. It doesn't cost you guys anything to hit the follow button and the like button. We appreciate all of you guys for listening. Tonight, everyone, we got NPFL Pro, Mr. Patric Walters. Patric Walters, everyone, NPFL Pro, fresh off a Santee Cooper win. Congratulations. This is win number 2 for you for the, isn't that right? 2.
It is, yep.
For the
Thank
NPFL.
y'all for having me.
Dude, You've been in it 2 seasons and 2 wins.
I'll take it. Hey,
Yeah.
happy as it can get. And to tell you the truth, I'm gonna say I owe it all to my wife. She talked me into
There you
fishing
go.
this year. I was not gonna fish.
Really?
I had a great
Wow.
time last year, and it was nothing to do with the NPFL. It was having to do with one of the schedule conflictions. It was right. Patman was over the Lake Murray tournament, and I was like, man, I didn't know how I felt about missing a tournament again. Missing out on an entry fee and doing all that, and having a chance to try to make the championship on only 5 tournaments compared to 6. But
Yeah.
I was like, hey, you don't get very many opportunities at a national tournament on your home pond. And that's what she told me.
Right.
And I signed up on the last day that you could sign up.
That is a daggone good point.
I know. I was like, looking back now, I'm like, it's a good thing she did. Because usually she's like, she doesn't want me to fish that much. And I think she looked at the schedule and she said, man, you're gonna be home a lot. I think you might need to sign up and
There you
fish.
go.
Uh-oh.
So it's double reason. She was like,
It
if
was
I
double,
talk to
you're
you
right.
this, I'm gonna
Exactly.
get something. He's gonna buy me something nice, and I get him home.
Exactly.
That is awesome, dude. Well, congratulations. Like I said, he had a 3-day total weight of 67.12. Day 1, you came out 22.8, 24 and 21. You stayed in a nice 20-pound range for the whole entire event. Like I said, congratulations. Man, $100,000 spends. It don't matter what tournament you fishing.
Amen.
Absolutely. When you're fishing for that kind of money, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's a big deal, but honestly, to do it on the home pond makes it that much sweeter because I love fishing Santee Cooper. It's my favorite lakes, hands down in the country, but it's gotten the best of me multiple times. And so to finally notch that win on the home pond, it meant more than anything. And that was my goal, to just maintain consistency, try to catch 20 pounds every single day. And we made some right calls that week and we got lucky.
It's also kind of sweet that they went from a $50,000 pot to a $100,000 pot this year.
That made a big difference. That was one of the main reasons why I wanted to fish again as well.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, they made that decision late, and they came up with their schedule. It was still $50,000, and a lot of people went to the opens. That's where we lost a lot of our anglers too.
Right.
And so it's kind of a rebuilding year for the NPFL, and then they pushed it up to $100,000. They changed their schedule around to get it where as good as they could get it. Still had one confliction, but I mean, that tends to happen sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of people fishing next year. It'll be a full field. I think I know 10 to 15 Elite Series guys that are fishing next year, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Heck
I don't see why you would.
I mean,
with the
for that
payout
kind of
and the
money
championship.
Yeah. I mean, an entry-free championship.
Yeah.
And then you're only fishing against 20 to 40 people in a championship. And I mean, right now it's 76 of us or 75 for 100 grand. That's pretty good odds.
Yeah, it's a whole lot better than a couple lottery tickets. I can tell you that freaking much. I mean, that's pretty daggone good odds for that, because 75, they wanted 100, didn't they? Or 100.
Yeah, they had like right at 100 last year. It was like ended up being 99 at the end of the season or something. And then we had the people leave for the opens and stuff. It's just because there was so much change going around. But they'll be back to 100, 125 next year without a doubt.
Oh, easily.
Hopefully, I know Hackney has spoke of coming, had fished in it a year ago, and then when they had to end the championship because of just the way life happens, it was quite a few elite anglers that had signed up to fish NPFL, decided them last minute, let's let this thing simmer for another year and see what happens. And then like you said, with all the changes, here we are today, and $100,000 richer.
And see, they've had a couple mishaps and a couple bumps in the road, but it's how they handled it is what I liked the most about it. They were upfront about it. They were honest. They were like, hey, here's where we messed up. This is what we're going to do going forward. And they corrected it. They wrote the ship, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a chance. I mean, it's fishing. I mean, I make my living on the water casting and trying to catch checks. And when I saw what they were doing, I was like, I like the way they're doing things. I was like, I'll give it a chance. I mean, what can it hurt?
And that's what we've heard consistently is it's,
yes,
everybody understands this is a new series. It's a new national series. There's going to be growing pains, but it's how they have handled it from 100%. Each and every angler we've talked to, that whether they still fish it, don't fish it now, each and every one of them have said that that they handle those growing pains extremely well.
Absolutely.
We had the president of the NPFL on early in the year, and we spoke to him, and we talked about the season and the changes, and at the time he spoke about changing the first event. It's just a lot of stuff that they were changing to make it better, and that the group had voted on the $100,000 pot. And I guess that was to hopefully they knew the number was going to be good. They saw the people leaving, like you said.
Yep.
And they said, okay, let's throw $100,000 out there. Hopefully this will encourage, a few of the anglers to come back to get the number.
Their original mindset was they wanted to pay the majority of people in the field. They wanted everybody to leave happy. And I agree with that mindset a lot of times, because it's like you want everybody to be like, hey, we cashed a check, you get paid if you didn't have that good of a tournament. And so they wanted to pay further down the field more consistently. And that is because they wanted everybody to be happy in the field. But as anglers, especially people who are trying to fish professionally, we are always thinking we're better than the next guy next to us.
Right.
And so when you're fishing, you're like, I want to fish for 100 grand. Like that's what you want to fish for. It's like when you win a tournament, you want to say you won 100 grand. And so that's what kind of everybody, the anglers kind of pulled together. It was like, they want to strive kind of more for top heavy than more consistent, just because, I mean, it looks better and you get more attention that way. I mean, they made that change and look how much attention it's already brought. I like both layouts. I like the top heavy one more myself. Just because that's what you shoot for. I mean, you shoot to win. If you're shooting for just cutting checks all the time, you're typically not going to cut a check. But if you shoot for the win every time, every now and then you mess up and you get lucky and you win one.
That's true. I can't remember. What was the cutoff of the checks for the NPFL this year?
I think it's 20, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I typically just show up and fish and I don't get paid. My wife's like, yeah, you didn't get paid this week.
Dang.
I think it's 20. That's what's bad. I'm telling you, I only worry about catching fish. That's all
that's all you got to worry about.
Mama takes care of
Might
the
be
rest
25. I'll have to go back and look.
It's all good.
Actually,
you go look it up real quick. Either way,
I'm going to try it.
Appreciate you coming on, man.
Well, I'm glad to be here, guys.
So let's talk about this event on your own home pond. Like you said, you spun out a few times. This time you're able to put it all together. What do you think helped you put it all together this time?
I think the biggest thing was that the Elite Series we had a month ago.
Okay.
I know Santee Cooper really well. I know Lake Marion and both Lake Moultrie. I know them like the back of my hand. I mean, I have fished it for a long time. I've spent hours and hours out there graphing, and I knew where I could catch fish. And everybody in the Elite Series who was fishing, I knew I had been fishing for those fish as well. Like where Cobb and Luke Palmer caught them, I was fishing. Where Kennedy was catching them, I started there in practice. I was catching them down there where Paul Mueller was at. And so what I did was every day I started up around Utah Creek, kept fishing shad spawn stuff. And then I'd run to the Spires Rocks Pond area where Luke and Cobb were fishing. I'd fish there for about 20, 30 minutes. And I'd only run a couple quick trees that I had shook fish off. Like I'd pull up and make 2 casts this tree, pick trolling motor up. I'd run a mile, fish this one tree, pick trolling motor up, and I'd run another mile, fish this one tree. And then I would leave and then I'd run all the way to the bottom end of the lower lake. And I tried doing that for a while. And I just got in a hurry. Because truly on Santee Cooper, they live 20 plus pounds, 20 to 30 pounds lives on every area of the lake, hands down, without a doubt. You can catch them there. There's not one area of the lake that fishes that much better than the other. There's certain times you're like, oh, they're just biting more here, but there's 20 pounds swimming on every end of that lake. And I know that.
Wow.
So it's like, I'm going to run into some biting fish. And so when I was picking the trolling motor up, I was moving 1 to 10 to 20 miles at a time. And I was just fishing too fast. I wasn't making the right decisions. I was just got in a hurry, and I had plenty of time to reflect on that, because after that tournament for about a week, I'm telling you, I was down in the dirt, just kicking myself because I knew all those fish were there.
Yeah.
I had found them. I just didn't slow down and fish for them. And I said, you just can't do that. And I said, when that NPFL comes, I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to enjoy it. I know the fish are everywhere, but the day, wherever I decide to fish that tournament that day, is where I'm going to stick it out. And I still pick the trolling motor up 20 to 30 times a day, but I would move 500 yards to a quarter mile at a time. I would pick up and I'd go to this clump of trees and I'd stay there and I'd fish it out. Because it's kind of like Florida, they're there. You just have to wait for them to start biting. And so that's what I do is, the first day I got lucky. I was fishing brim beds and stuff like that, and just had a couple good bites, and I hunkered down in the area. That's my favorite area on the lake. It's the Utah Creek to Spires area, kind of, and it's the other side of the lake from Tall Call. It's the bottom end of Lake Marion, and I stayed there. It's where I stayed all day. Only had 6 bites, but I still had 22 pounds, and I got lucky, landed all of them. And then day 2 rolled around, and we had 20+ mile-an-hour winds. And I said, you know what? I can get to the other side of the lake. It won't be a problem. It's going to be rough, but I said I'm not going to be able to fish efficiently over there.
Right.
That is my favorite side of the lake, but I'm not going to push it. Because if I was somewhere else on a different lake that I didn't know, and I had found fish on that side, I said, this is where I'd fish guaranteed. I'd fish protected. And so I stayed on the other side of the lake, protected from the wind. I know they lived there. It wasn't where I wanted to fish, but I knew that the fish were there. I had a lot of bites that day, ended up with 24 pounds. And I was like, wow, that area was a little bit better than I expected it to be. And then day 3 was postponed due to wind. I got a video I'd have to show you guys that I'm telling you, when I say it was rowdy, it was rowdy.
It got rowdy up here as well because it came through.
It blew
here.
40 miles an hour.
It was.
Gus.
We didn't get the 40, but it was close.
I've been fishing the Mountain Division and BFLs this year, and what you just said is exactly. I have literally predicted or found the fish that have placed in top 5 almost 100%. Every single tournament. And I've been doing the exact same thing you were talking about on your home lake, and I've really, it's kind of spun me out.
It's spins you out because you think I got to go there.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I'll get there on that first school and I'll be like, okay, they're not biting the way I like, and you just don't. You can see them, they're there.
They're there.
You just go, okay, let's go. I got this spot over here, and then it's just spun me out. But the wind, like you said, man, and I know it ain't nothing because now Santee is a big open.
She's a big pond.
But I feel you, man. It blew right up the gut on Dale Hollow, 40 mile per
Dale
hour,
gets rough.
50 mile per hour gusts. And I didn't have my new boat. I was in a 98 Triton with a 200. 4-foot rollers. I was like,
Yeah, that would be pushing it.
I thought this is the day my motor blows because I'd have to go.
Let's see.
Look at that, man.
Holy cow.
This is at the mouth of my creek. I don't know if y'all can see that. Look at the waves on the trees.
Holy cow.
That dock was.
If you're watching the video, you got to watch our YouTube version now. Yeah. Check out this freaking video. It looks like he's in the ocean.
It was the ocean.
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Look like it's where it's at.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That is just no fun when you have to run.
No. I mean, because like you said, where the fish are at. You're like, I gotta go to them.
Yeah.
And so you risk more than you should, and that's the thing. It's because when you fish, especially for $100,000, you do stupid stuff.
Oh,
and that's what they talked about. They made 100% the right call to postpone.
Oh yeah,
they did.
That day 3, and so they pushed it to Sunday, and it was still windy, but I didn't run back across the lake because that wind. I don't know if you could see it, the mud that it had stirred up because it had blown that same direction for 2 days.
Right.
It had blown that whole side of the lake out. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd say it did on that lake.
But you still hit the 20-pound mark.
Yep.
You still had a great day. Like I said, how did you feel sitting during that delay, wondering, what the lake's going to do? Would you be able to find the fish that you have been finding the first 2 days consistently? Even though you said, though, any section on that lake has 20+ pounds. That was a whole lot of a storm right there.
That was a storm. That's when I knew, because my plan was looking at the wind. I said, okay, if day 3 got postponed, I'm going to come back across the lake and I'm going to fish back on this side of the lake because this is where my lake house is. This is where I fish is on the south end of the lake. And then when we went out to that little beach area and I saw it, and I was like, there's no way. Like it had blown everything out. I was like, there's no way I could fish. But I did like the off day because it allowed me to actually pack up my Sabine River tackle. It allowed me to get ready for Texas because they pushed the tournament back to Sunday.
And then
Sunday after the tournament, I had to roll out because practice started on Monday at Sabine. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna fish the protected areas where I can actually fish efficiently. That still has clean water. I mean, because fresh mud, you can't catch them.
No.
I don't care where you're at. I don't care if it's dirty water or fresh mud. When it gets stirred up a couple days into it, 2 to 3 days, it'll be the best bite on the entire lake. But when it's new within a day, I said, I'm not going to push it. There was so much disturbance over there. I was like, I'm going to stay on the other side of the lake. I had a bunch of bites day 2, which made me feel pretty good. I probably had 15 bites on day 2, where the first day I only had 6 bites.
Right.
And I was like, that side of the lake is just fishing that much better. I feel good about it. I'm just going to grind it out and see what happens. And just kind of had to hit new water. I couldn't really catch them. I did not catch them in the same spots I caught them on day 2. I thought I could, because some of it was brush piles. I was running, offshore cover and brush. And I thought, those piles would reload, but they really didn't reload as much as I thought. Their fish got in them, but the big dominant fish that kind of like owned that pile, I had caught them the day before. And so I had to kind of fish all new piles and catch them to catch my weight on day 3. But the good thing was, I'll give you a tip. When you show up for a tournament, look at the wind forecast and the weather forecast for the entire week, because I had found all those piles and all the offshore structure that I fished on day 1 of practice, because I looked at it and it said it was going to blow northeast at 20 plus miles an hour. I spent over 4 hours graphing over there all day. I ran over there, graphed, never made a cast, and left. I said, I don't want to fish over here, but I'm going to graph it just in case the wind is truly that bad, to have that in my back, to have that in my pocket. And that's how I caught it.
Nice.
That's awesome, man. That is a good tip right there. And, a lot of people don't, and, that I ain't gonna say don't have the time, but that's probably, that is the big, huge difference between a professional angler and a weekend angler.
True. Very true. That's like, if you have time, try to fish it accordingly. But if you're fishing the weekend stuff, you're going to have to fish it when you get there, but fish protected areas. But be looking ahead of time, because be looking at the forecast on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, because it might blow west Wednesday and Thursday, 25 mile an hour, and you get there on Saturday and it's blowing out the south, and you're like, oh, I'm going to fish protected south areas, but you need to be fishing the stuff that was protected from that west wind, because that's the stuff that got crushed.
Yeah, that's great. And it also goes, that also goes time on the water, and for a weekend angler, plus history. I mean, looking back at, past places you found fish, and past places you might have graphed yourself, maybe at an earlier tournament, knowing, like you said, where the brush piles are and the different parts of the lake are that you want to fish that didn't get blown out. It's a lot of
history. History wastes. I'll tell you what it does to me. It wastes my practice. That's what it does to me.
That's true. History will bite you. I mean, you got to use history, but you got to forget it as well. Like you said, I use history a lot of times, especially fishing here on Santee Cooper, of areas that they do live. They're going to live in this creek, or they spawn on these trees, but you still have to re-find them. In practice, if I have a big tournament, I try to shake off fish. You want to find where they're at. And I regraph stuff every year. I mean, I typically try to delete my waypoints and start over, because I got so many waypoints here now that it chokes your graph out. And brush piles, they decay. I mean, a brush pile is not that good after 3 years, probably. It just rots away. Probably 4 years.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. One of the big things that you said, one of the key things, you live on this lake, every tree, every stump, every brush pile. But what did you do? You went and graphed, and just in case that wind blew, but you graphed, and that's a lake you already know. So you didn't just take it for granted.
You do take it for granted, because you typically don't graph your home lakes as much. But I said, I need to go regraph it. I hadn't graphed over there in about 2 years. And you find new piles, because people put piles out every month. And you find new piles, you find fresh piles. There was spots that were my favorite areas, but those piles had just decayed and they weren't that tall no more. And so that was the thing, is you had to find those good, fresher groups.
Yes, because we had an angler on a couple episodes ago, and we were talking about, was it the last episode? No, it was the week before that.
One before that. Yeah.
One before that. And we were talking about fishing the brush piles and the difference between the different brush piles.
Yeah.
And brush piles, So it was guys, if you haven't went back and listened to it, you need to head on over to Outdoor Sessions Radio now, or wherever you listen to podcasts. But we really broke down brush pile fishing.
Yeah.
And the difference between the old brush pile, a new brush pile.
Yeah.
And, if I remember correctly, he even talked about being able to see through the brush pile.
Yeah, and it being the better brush piles for him were the ones that were really thick and gnarly, and you really couldn't even, with forward facing, really see in them that well.
The one reason people to think of brush pile, why they don't know why brush piles are as good as they are, why fresher ones are typically better than older ones. It's the amount of shade they produce.
Wow, great tip. Great.
Just so
tip.
people know that, because a pile that's got no limbs on it, everybody's been swimming in the water before. It's a stick. Ain't no shade there.
Yeah.
But you gotta think about that's why they love docks and all that stuff. It's a wall. It's shade. Same thing with brush pile.
I mean,
So
Fisher. Go ahead.
Go ahead, brother.
I mean, fish are just like us. They get high. I mean, get under a dock and get in the shade.
So is there particular areas that you look for brush piles that are better? Points like, the kid that we were talking to in that other one, he was talking about, ditches, drains being nearby. And that
he wasn't from the southeast, was he? He must be from a herring fishery.
He was from up north, but he was the one that won. Was it the Open? He won the Open. Refresh or the Toyota, Brian?
Who was it?
I'll have to look back in myself on the Outdoor Obsessions radio and look at it.
If you're listening, brother, we're sorry.
But yeah, I mean, he really did.
The ditches are good ones too. It all depends on the season. There's times where deep brush works. There's time where shallow brush is better, and pocket brush. When they're in those ditches and they're transitioning, every lake sets up different. Whether it depends on the forage they're eating. If they're eating herring, if they're eating brim, that kind of stuff. If they're eating brim, they're going to be typically on that shallower brush. Eating herring, they want real tall brush that the herring can kind of suspend around, and the bass are too. So it really depends on the fishery of what's in there to kind of where they locate and how that brush sets up. Because you can put a lot of brush in a certain type of lake and it won't be good in that lake. You have to set up different type of brush piles in each lake.
Guys, by the way, that podcast was Alec Morrison, and he won a big event on Sam Rayburn. I mean, the guy really didn't even have to fish the final day. He had already won it by that much. I mean, he
had like a 24-pound lead. Yeah, he crushed it, dude.
He now sets the record for a Major League Fishing event. I mean, for the, like you said,
it was a Toyota
Series event. Yeah.
How much weight did he win by?
24 pounds.
He's 20. He's 23.
He did end up winning for 24. That's a stout.
He's 23 years old and is turning 24 years old this month, and he won by 24 pounds.
How about that?
On a big worm and a drop shot. He fishes smallmouth fishing.
Okay. Listen, it's hard to beat dabbing at Texas red worm and brush. I used to hate fishing brush. I hated it. Brush used to be the deal on Santee Cooper for a long time. Now it's kind of not becoming the deal because we have a lot of eelgrass coming in. There's a lot of hydrilla back in the lake, coontail. The lake's about to extremely blow up. But I'm telling you, when you lob that big worm in there on a 3/8 ounce weight on 20-pound line, and you lean down there and you get about halfway on that hook set and it just cracking them. That's awesome. The deal.
So let's talk about the win itself, man. I want to go back real quick, guys. And you were talking about, mindset from the past tournament where you kind of did spin out a little bit. And, it was a different Patric Walters we got to see there. And to turn it around like this, what's some of the things that went through your head that, you kind of said, okay, this is what I'm going to do different the next event? Or, I know you said this NPFL event, you're just going to go fish. You're going to go have fun.
That was the biggest thing.
And let the cards fall wherever they may. But I know we always have that road trip home, even if it's a mile or 10 miles or hours, that we're thinking about what I could have done different.
See, that's what I had. I had that you could reflect from that elite tournament. I had time to think about it. Where did I go wrong? What did I do? And like I said, I was going to go have fun. I wasn't going to stress about it, but I was going to make smarter decisions. I was going to fish the conditions that were dealt. I wasn't going to force it because typically, especially in your home, like you force where you want to fish. This is the area they live in. This is where I'm going because I love to fish here. I've caught more 30-pound bags in this area. That's where I'm going to go. Yes, they do live there, but you don't catch them if the conditions are right. You don't. I mean, you might catch one fish or two fish. So that's what I was going to try to be consistent and make the right calls each day. If it wasn't happening, you just adjust accordingly. But going into that day, you could tell it's like, hey, this is what the wind direction was. This is what the weather's doing. This is what the bite's probably going to set up for. And then I would stick to it. And that's where I think I made the biggest difference. Instead of running from one end of the lake to the
Right.
other and trying to fish the entire body of water, which I typically do, and it typically has beaten me every single time I do it, that I was like, don't do that. Just stay in your area, because we've had a couple big tournaments here on Santee now, and somebody catches them in one pocket, and I'm tired of that. And I'm like, it's too simple for me. I'm like, I want to run the entire lake. I want to see the whole body of water in one day. But that's not how you do well here. You can do that in some places, but
Right.
this place is like, you better hunker down and you catch your 5, because they, like I said, 20 pounds lives everywhere. So just stay in your area and find them that day.
You said, what was your main concentration for this event, man? When you were looking for each and every day that you said this will get my 24 pounds.
I was planning on fishing brush and brim beds and eelgrass. That's what I was going in the tournament. It was May.
Yeah.
The bass are mostly done spawning. There were still some spawning that were up, but I can catch them sight fishing. I highly enjoy it. I hate doing it in a tournament. I will not catch largemouth on bed in a tournament. Unless I pass them. If I pass them going to the bank, I'm gonna catch them. But I'm not gonna go mark 100 bedders and chase bedding fish. I just don't do that. It's not what I like to do. I don't get that much enjoyment out of it in a tournament because it's stressful. And so I was gonna fish brim beds, brush, and eelgrass. And the first day I did that, got them on brim beds, and I didn't catch any out of grass that as much as I thought. I fished a couple spots and they weren't really biting. And then one out of brush, one under a dock, and just kind of junk fishing. And that was what my goal was. And then day 2, I fished the other side of the lake. And so I was going to focus more on brush. And I caught them off a brush, caught one big one on a stump on a big spinner bait. Can't beat that big spinner bait by just diving the thing in there. And then day 3, I caught them one off a dock, and mostly the rest one's off a brush.
So dock fishing, we talking deep, shallow? Are we talking the end of the dock? Or are we talking?
It was the end. Both of them were on the end of the docks because they just got done spawning.
Right.
And they were already, a lot of times when they're spawning, they'll go up down the walkway, and they just got done. They kind of use docks as transitions. They worked their way down the dock, and they were at the end of it, kind of just suspended, chilling there before they moved out deep, or they might live there their whole lives. I did relocate him because he doesn't live there now, but he might be making his way back. But that's where they kind of relocate to. They suspend off the end of it. And I caught them both jerking. I mean, you know me. I like to throw a plug.
We know. Guys, we're talking to NPFL Patric Walters about his home win on Santee Cooper.
I'll give you a quick sneak peek. I might get in trouble for this. I got one.
He's got one.
The plug I caught him the final day on. It's a quick sneak peek. It's the new... I can't say the name. I'd get fired probably. But
oh my God,
it's the new. You see the name.
Some of my favorites.
Rappala's coming out with it. And I'm telling you, I've been throwing it since the classic and a little bit before that. It's a bad dude. I've been catching a lot of fish on it. I've had a lot of people text me like, "Hey, how many of them plugs you got? Can I get some?" I'm like, I might lend a couple out, but
listen, man, I love the shadow wrap shad. The rip stops. Man, love
this one. I like all those. Like the shadow wrap, I love how shallow it goes. The shadow wrap deep is actually my favorite one because it's got a square bill on it. I mean, it comes through the cover good, but this one throws great. It throws just as good as the 110, if not better. It's the same little profile. Gets down and deep, but I can fish it shallow as well if I put it on like 14-pound line. Like I had 2 setups. I had one on 14-pound line when I'm fishing around docks, kind of keeping it up a little bit if I need to. And you can work it like popping it vertical sometimes too, and it doesn't leave the water.
Nice.
And then I throw it on 12-pound line when I'm fishing it out, trying to get a little bit deeper. But you still want to.
I'm up here on these Highlands reservoirs. I'm throwing like 8-pound test. I'm sure I'm throwing that shadow wrap shad. I'm throwing 8-pound test. I mean, man, I'm working it. And sometimes I'm even putting the spin dots on. I'm working it down. Dude, I was catching them on a jerk bait 25 foot deep out of brush house.
I do believe that, but 8-pound line scares me. Like the lightest I've gone to 10 before on the little ones, but I throw my jerk baits on typically 12, 14, and 20. I throw a lot of
Wow.
plugs on 20. A lot.
Wow.
Listen, when I catch him on 20, he's coming in the boat because I just
Listen,
hit him and I just start
fished-
reeling him in. Like he's
I've
coming.
fished
He's
Douglas before when they're 40-foot deep, and I've thrown a 10XD on 8-pound bass.
how did it not pop reeling it in?
You just grind, man. You just gotta.
That's
you
too
just gotta,
light for me. I
You
That's
couldn't
gotta
do
crazy.
it.
George Michaels it, man. You gotta have.
Dude,
faith.
I'm telling you, I crank on 14. Every now and then I'll crank on
Yeah.
12. I like big line.
I do too, but sometimes, man, you just gotta get that
8.
reaction. Yeah, yeah. I've done it. I try not to do it a lot, but if
I
they're
go,
down there real deep and they won't bite a swim bait,
and it would sucker would
or a
pop out
jig.
halfway, and it would go over the Douglas Dam. I
That's
just keep
crazy.
sending it. Somebody in Gatlinburg would be like a 10XD
Yeah.
just come
Like,
flying
what
by
was
them.
that?
Yeah,
That's
on 8
Tennessee
pound, it'd be
shad.
like.
All
right. So we're gonna move on to Saginaw Bay
Yep. That's
in
the next one.
July. And you guys all know Patric fishes the Elite Series, and we talked about that before it came on because it's time for the Northern Swing.
I'm looking forward to it.
A lot of people are looking forward to it because after Texas, all we kept hearing was it's hot, and it's hot.
It was hot.
But you know what? I love fishing the river, and I love that event because
I do love
we got
tough
the
fisheries
we
and
got
tidal
the
fisheries.
we got the James River down here.
Yep.
And I mean, it's river rat. I take my kayak and I can go to the river anytime and I'm happy as crap. And you're gonna catch something. It don't matter what you're gonna have a good time. And a lot of people are catching many different things on the river. So you guys all heard a couple of the elites talking about catching some ocean fish.
I was very upset I didn't catch any redfish or flounder all week.
Redfish.
At one point, I was out in the saltwater in Sabine Lake, pure saltwater, throwing a chatterbait down some riprap, trying to catch me a redfish for dinner. And Lee Livesey passed me, and I waved at him, and I guarantee you, the only thing I think of was he was like, Patrick ain't gonna catch him this week, because he's like, he's lost, and I'm just like, he probably thinks I'm bass fishing, but I'm truly like just trying to catch a redfish for dinner.
They are so freaking good. I ain't gonna lie. I actually brought
redfish
some
on the half shell.
Yeah, man, they're so good. Daggone it. That's how I grew up fishing. I pond fishing and ocean fishing, deep sea fishing. That's my family's
100%.
love, big freaking time. So, but we make the Northern Swing. Saginaw Bay is next July 16th through 20th. That's practice included. He told me that. I didn't do the math for it. Come on, so 19th. That's 20, 21st, 22nd. 3 days event. Everybody fishes all 3 days.
Yep.
It's the 20th it all starts for you guys. And then there's because you guys all know Bassmaster's off for about a month. We're finishing up the Bass Nation events. Virginia won the last one, our home state. We're still all in shock. We're pretty excited about that. Huh?
I said, speaking of Douglas.
Yeah, we're all in
shock. He was on Douglas.
Yeah, they were on Douglas. So we're pretty, we had a Virginia one co-angler and angler.
Nice.
So that was something we haven't had in quite a while. And then the team won as well. So kudos to Virginia for that. And like I said, our last podcast, we had on our Virginia winner, which, good gosh, his name. Kevin Walton was on our last episode. But so we're finishing up that. Then we go into the elites and talk to us about the Northern Swing, brother. I rambled for a minute, guys, but it just, kind of sad. We got a month off.
It is and it isn't, because listen, I'm gonna put my toes in the sand. I'm gonna kick back. I'm gonna relax. We're actually, my wife and I are gonna go on vacation, and we're just gonna enjoy the month. I'm gonna enjoy some, because actually I have not been able to be on the lake fun fishing, shell cracker fishing. I haven't been able to go sandbar and hang out with everybody in 2 months because we had the NPFL 2 weeks ago, and then we went to Sabine, and so we had the NPFL, and then it was off limits for a month. And then we had the elite, and it was off limits for a month.
Mm-hmm.
So since January, I haven't been on the lake. I had to go somewhere else. And so that's why I'm looking forward to some much needed time. But I enjoy the northern fishing. It's very, the weather's nice. You go up there, there's always a small mom and pop diner. Get you some pancakes and stuff. Get you a nice omelet in the morning. Oatmeal. They ain't got no grits,
Yeah,
but
they got
you
oatmeal.
got to make do. And but I enjoy northern fishing, and now I get time to kind of change my tackle around. That's what I like. I'm gonna go tie me a bunch of hair jigs up. That is probably one of the most therapeutic things you can do. Is you go tie you a bunch of little black marabou hair jigs,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, it's just fun. I enjoy that. You just get to sit down, and then you have more confidence in it when you throw in something that you tied.
Right.
And it's just, gosh, I love northern fishing now. It took me about 3 years to kind of get a hold on a little bit. I'm not saying I'm good at it, but I like to get where more I can catch them a little bit better. Because typically you'd find a school of fish, and I'd catch 5 fish, and they'd be all 2-pounders, maybe right at 3 pounds. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep catching them. I'm gonna catch a big one. Because the southern mentality is, if you find a school of fish, if you catch 5 fish, you're gonna catch a big one. If you catch 5 3-pounders, the next one might be a 7. I mean, they gang up in groups. That's where they're
Yeah.
going. But up north, that is not the case. They gang up by size no matter what. So that's what I found out, is you better go find where the big ones are at. Fish, don't stop fishing till you find the big ones. Don't lay on a school of 3-pounders. Don't lay on a school of 3.5s. Don't lay on a school of 4.5s. You go find the 4.5 to 5s. I mean, the bigs. I'd say you catch big bags up there.
That's awesome. I was watching a video the other day on YouTube, and it was a Greco, and he fished a tournament, and it was in Mexico, and they were throwing back 5-pounders down there. Yeah.
In a tournament?
Yeah, it was a 3
Like they
fish
were culling
tournament.
5s?
They were culling 5s, throwing 5s back, and it was like 7 to 9-pound fish they were reeling in. Yeah.
What
and I
lake
was
was
like,
that?
I don't even freaking remember. I mean,
It's pretty
it's like,
stout.
yeah, it's pretty daggone stout. But I mean, it's like you're saying up there, you got to go find the big ones.
Yep.
You can be consistent, get you enough to sneak in maybe, but to win it all, you got to have
To win, to compete.
You got to have that kicker every single day.
100%.
Couple kickers. So,
and that's the thing, is like, if you get a kicker, you get lucky, but you're usually, when you see a guy who's got 20 to 25 pounds of smallmouth, they're all the same size. They're clones. He doesn't typically bring out one big fish on average. Every now and then he'll catch a big one, but it's like, and that's when you catch that big ones, when you get, and that fish was probably by itself. It wasn't in the group. He went and did something completely different, caught that big one. But to have a big bag, they're clones.
awesome. Guys, Patric Walters, make sure you guys follow him on his journey on Instagram, other social media platforms as well. I don't think you've broken into the YouTube scene yet, but
not too much. I want to. I got a YouTube
busy.
channel, but it's busy. But I enjoy making a living cashing checks. I mean, it's what I fish for. I need to do the YouTube. I think I could do it. It's just, I hadn't done it. During the off season, I like hunting, so I just switch gears. One thing to the other.
I think I saw Lee Livesey had hired somebody to start doing his
He's got some traveling with him, so he's going to start doing stuff. And everybody's doing it. I mean, I think it's becoming the norm. I mean, it used to be, that was kind of like, oh, one person was doing that. And hindsight, I wish we all got on that 5 years ago, because it would have been a lot easier to maintain now. But it's hard to get started in it. I just hadn't broke that barrier.
So you guys make sure you're following him. Patrick, man, anybody you want to thank before we roll out for this big old win?
Y'all too. Thank y'all for having me.
Man,
happy to
always,
be here.
man.
Happy for, my family, for all the support they do. All my sponsors, I wouldn't be able to do it without them. Every single one of them. Happy to, thankful for everyone at Bass and Bassmaster, and everybody at NPFL, and everybody who follows the sport of bass fishing. It's just take a youth out there fishing, just kind of keep the sport going. It's the biggest thing. It's if everybody kind of takes care of our bodies of water, then hey, we'll have this resource for a long time. So just big thanks to everyone.
Got that right. We just come off of Youth Fishing Day right here in Virginia.
Nice.
Last weekend. One of our writers, Bruce Callis, was out with the kids, so that's pretty freaking awesome. He spent a little bit of time with them, so I took a break because I'm going to Bugs Island this weekend for a 2-day event.
Go ahead. Better throw your spinnerbait. Crack 'em.
Yep. So guys, we're gonna be right back. All right, guys, really appreciate Patrick coming on and talking with us tonight. What a great show. Patrick, man, always well informed, keeping us in the loop. And, congratulations him on winning a big one on his home body of water. And I've interviewed a lot of different guys on the radio show as well as off the radio show for the basscast.com as well. And we kind of highlight that and talk about that. And, it happens. I mean, the spin is real. And this time he was able to just settle down and do what he needed to do to take home the win. So congratulations to him. Appreciate him being on. I've got a guest that I'm really hoping we can talk to next week. When I finished in the top 5 guys at the Bassmaster Elite on the Sabine River, however you guys want to say it, Sabine River.
Yeah.
And I actually, as we were talking to a podcast, I love river fishing. I really do. It's a great time out. It's a way to, if you have a bad tournament, go river fishing. It don't matter. The rod's bent. It makes you feel good again. Makes you feel that you can go back out there and catch some big ones. So it was a great event. I mean, it was cool watching it being pretty daggone close and coming down to ounces. I mean, really for the final freaking day, coming down to ounces, the win and what all went to it. So, and then people coming from like way the heck back, like Matt. I mean, he was like 20th, way on down to come back and finish the top 10 and fish the final day. I mean, it was a crazy freaking awesome event. And so we're going to have somebody on and we're going to talk about that. But guys, appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you head on over and follow Bass Geek. Follow the podcast as well, guys. Don't forget the gentleman's agreement. It's not free. All you got to do is hit the follow button. Don't matter where you listen to us. We appreciate you guys. Have a great night, everyone. And we will see you next week.